Hello and welcome to Always Elite. Today we're going to review AEW Saturday Night Dynamite from August 22nd, 2020. Starts off with a cold open with FTR versus Private Party with Tully Blanchard wearing an FTR jacket. How interesting. FTR cheats early to get the upper hand. Great tag team wrestling on both sides, back and forth most of this match. Tully pays dividends by pulling Dax out of trouble, which allows FTR to hit the Goodnight Express for the win. Then earlier in the day, Jon Moxley speaks on MJF's campaign and says it was amusing. Says his wife Renee Young, who has recently quit the WWE, can attest to more of his faults than anybody else. So I look forward to seeing her soon in AEW. I'm pretty sure that she'll end up there. He says the toughest people don't say much, you just take action. Says that MJF is all talk and no action. Says that MJF is the future of the company. However, September 5th is not that day. Then we got MJF retort in a neck brace, no less. Says that all the past dictators pale in comparison to John, the dictator. Says John's a coward because he attacked from behind. And crybaby MJF says someday he wants kids, and he says he's not going to be able to do that if John hits the paradigm shift. MJF's lawyer then says that the paradigm shift is dangerous. He said they put a petition out online to ban the paradigm shift altogether. His firm drew up a contract that Moxley must sign. Will he, though, is the question. If John doesn't sign, they say that he will sue John for everything that he has. Next up, it's the Butcher, the Blade, and the Lucha Bros versus the Natural Nightmares and Jurassic Express. Before Justin Roberts even announces the match, Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Bros just beat the crap out of everybody. The heels keep dusting in the ring for a good majority of this match. Luchasaurus got the hot tag and cleared the house. Pentagon and Blade have a spat in the ring, which allows Jungle Boy to roll up and get the victory for his team. Will this lead to a match between the Butcher and the Blade and the Lucha Brothers? However, Eddie Kingston comes out and says, "Stop the fighting. Divided we fall, united we stand," that kind of mantra. He calms everyone down and says we need to stick together so we can win everything. Then Tony Schiavone attempts to interview Orange Cassidy. And of course, Chris Jericho interrupts almost immediately. Jericho says he congratulates Orange on beating him and says he's proud of Orange for doing so. Says they need to have one more match since they each won one. He says the match is going to be something that I made up. It's going to be a MIMOSA MAYHAM match. The only way to win is pinfall, submission, or dumping your opponent into I don't know what they're going to use, probably a swimming pool, but a vat of mimosa. He says that it's going to be filled with 80 gallons of orange juice and 500 cases of the bubbly. And that match will be at All Out. And of course, the Inner Circle comes down immediately after that and beats everybody up. The Best Friends were there, beat them up, and beat Orange up. Next is the Dark Orders 3, 4, and 5 versus the Elite. Starts off fast with a great show of athleticism on both sides, in and out of the ring. Dark Order uses a chair to gain the advantage on Kenny. 5 minutes of back and forth, and Kenny gets beat up throughout the break. The Elite have very little offense in this match. The Dark Order looks really good right now. I mean, you'll see why later. In the end, it was a triple team Indie Taker and a one-winged Angel, and the Elite pick up the victory. After the match, Kenny looks like he snapped and grabs a chair and wants to break one of the Dark Order's legs. But the Elite, the Young Bucks, jump in and stop him. Then Alex Marvez interviews FTR, says they're going to be in a tag team gauntlet match next week, where the winner will face Page and Omega at All Out for the titles. FTR says Tully is teaching them how to be the best so that they can win the titles at All Out. Page walks in and yells at FTR about attacking the Rock and Roll Express last week. FTR turns it on Page and says, what if the Young Bucks win this tournament? And then you have to face them at All Out instead. Tully, in the end of this interview, said something very interesting. He said, fear the revelation. Is that the actual name of FTR? Guess we'll have to find out and see. Next, it's Darby Allin versus Will Hobbs. Darby doesn't even wait for the bell and just drop kicks Hobbs right away. And he kicks him right out of the ring. As soon as Hobbs gets back in the ring, he shows his power and just beats the crap out of Darby. Darby quickly turns around, hits a coffin drop for the win. Then Taz gets on the mic and says they have a new member, but it's just Ricky Starks dressed like Darby with the face paint and everything else, which was just a ruse for Cage to attack Darby with the FTW belt from behind. Ricky and Cage just beat the crap out of him. Sammy comes out to run Bumper in between that and the break. And Matt Hardy comes out with a chair and just beats the crap out of Sammy. And then he puts Sammy through a couple of tables. So next week, it was announced that they're going to have a match, a tables match. But I'm sure that's not all of it. I'm sure there's going to be one final match at All Out. Then it's the Women's Tag Team Tournament Cup Finals between the Nightmare Sisters, Allin and Brandi, and Ivelisse and Diamante. Starts off slow. Ivelisse and Diamante beat up Brandi. I have to say, Brandi is not much of a wrestler. She should stick to what she does best, and that's being the CBO of AEW. She has great marketing skills and talks a big game. Allin is a wrestler. She gets in the ring, and she's trying to show Brandi how it's done. Nightmare Sisters were on top for most of the match after that. But a snapmare, a kick to the face, and a roll-up, and Ivelisse and Diamante win the Women's Tag Team Cup. Then it's main event time. It's Brodie Lee versus Cody for the AEW Championship. Cody's smart right away and jumps Brodie Lee, beating on him, which pisses Brodie off, and he just demolishes Cody in and out of the ring. He just uses his power and just decimates Cody inside the ring. He hits a spinning lariat, and he gets the 1, 2, 3 and wins the AEW TNT Championship in about 5 minutes. Wow. I cannot believe that's a shock. Cannot believe that happened. He gets in the ring with Tony Schiavone and says, no one believed the Dark Order than what they could do, including you, Tony. As that's going on, Cody is stretchered out. It looks like he may have been injured. He may have broken his wrist because he's holding his wrist as he's being stretchered out. With Cody locked down in the stretcher, the Dark Order beat up on Arn Anderson, and they dump Cody off the stretcher. Anna Jay comes out and chokes Brandy, who is covering up Cody, who's trying to protect him. Well, that was the end of Dynamite. The last shot at Dynamite you got was Brodie Lee standing over the Nightmare Collective or family or whatever you want to call them with the TNT title held up high. Let me know in the comments what you thought of the show. And until next time, always be elite.